Maude H and my role for this event is just to facilitate, but more of facilitating, I see it like having a conversation with young people and then talking to them about issues that they already know, but the biggest thing is trying to clear up some doubts, some misconceptions that they have about these issues. So I just don't see it as the big title, facilitator, but what I see is coming to learn from somebody and somebody learning from it. You know, when it comes to development, it's one key thing that every nation should focus on, and then if you find yourself in a space where you are capable of giving back to people, it's better that you do it and do it in the best manner, so it will be perfect for them. So adolescents are at the verge of exploring new things, and then when they learn certain things, they carry along with them. Many a times we've tried, like Liberia, we stay in the learning process, but they miss concepts. Like they do know some things, but then their practices are not best practices. They are not doing the right things, and then because of it now, we have to go to schools. Instead of just using the media, you have to go to school. So the goal is going to each school in Liberia to have at least, if you can have SRHR club, if you can have maternal clubs, so that people can learn about these things. Because you know, when you learn things from a certain age, it lives with you and you carry up to your older age. They are more vulnerable for the fact that they don't know what they are to know, and they know it in a way that does not help them. They know it from a different perspective, from people using their own personal way to define the things that are not true, and then they use it as experiments. And when they experiment, at times it will come to be the same way somebody said it was, only because they don't have the proper knowledge or the proper way to go about doing the right things that they are to do. Yeah, so young people already know that. They understand that they should move from childhood to adolescence. But then we were trying to make them to pitch up, because the training is just not an ordinary training. It's wherein you empowering students to be able to give knowledge back to their friends. So we were teaching puberty so that people can know the changes just didn't come about. It's related to growth. It's related to development, and then it's about you moving from one stage to another, but then properly understanding how you move from one stage to another and how you can take care of the things that will happen in that stage. So it was just about the physical and mental changes that occur during puberty, and then you know, when it comes to the physical changes, we have two genders, right? We have male and female. So what happens for female is that for females, they will start to experience menstruation, and then for males, they will have wet dreams, right? So we're just trying to educate them on what to do, how to go about, because they are already adolescents, but they don't know sufficiently. And another thing is, most of them have been introduced to contraceptive, all methods of family planning. So we're trying to make them understand that they should own their own bodies, and then they should decide on what they want to do. They shouldn't go, for example, you shouldn't go and take family planning because your friend is taking family planning. You shouldn't go and have sex because your friend is having sex. You should know that if you are taking up a task, you owe it to yourself, and then you should become yourself in whatsoever you do so that you can get best results. So for me, it's not just about the sexual and reproductive health part. As a young person, I just see it like, if I knew I had the opportunity, but not to this standard, right? So when I was in school, we had health clubs. We learned about these things, but not to this extent. And then another thing I'm involved with is sexual gender-based violence. So I do believe that aside us holding the placards when things happen to people, aside us talking about teenage pregnancy all the time, we need to move to the students, we need to go to them. We need to have conversation with them. We need to learn their problems, because you see, once a young person, the thing about young people is we are bold. We are capable of explaining our problems. We are capable of standing up for what we want. So if you are able to communicate to another person, they can do it. And then you look at the exponential factor. You look at how many people it's going to impact. So as a young person, I do feel that there are certain things that I know about and certain things that are good for children or for adolescents, and I do feel that I should be able to tell them about it so that they can, one, avoid it, aside, because I know there are certain things that naturally we have to battle with, but then there is a high possibility that if I show you the road to Kakata, you might not use the back road. Or why using the road if I tell you that there is this place and this and so thing can happen there, you will know what to do when you reach at the road. Unlike me waiting for you to reach to that point and then you calling me and telling me this thing happened, they are trying to call big people. Oh, you didn't face the road, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. We know we have to call them, we will call them, we will always call upon them, but in doing such, we also do believe that we should reach out to the people that are affected and then tell them how they can try. Because even if we tell them, there is still a possibility that these things will happen. But then by telling them, I think it minimizes the amount of happiness around SRHR, bad practices, and sexual gender-based like Help a Mother and Newborn Child is doing. Their project is for mothers and newborn children, but then they have this component that goes to schools to create safety help. They go to create health clubs, right? SRHR clubs. So in these clubs, they train students, right? Then the students in turn train their friends, and their friends, carry the message around. So with this, you have everybody getting it, because if I go home, I will talk about what I learned today with my friends in the community. I will tell my mom, I will tell my pa, I will tell my brothers, I will tell my sisters. And when they go to school, if it's in another school, they will go and tell their friends. And then everybody will have to get the communication about certain things after a certain period of time. But then if we leave it, it will not work. Another thing they are doing is they are trying to create maternal hubs within the facilities that their project is covering within Margibi. So they are doing it so that they can have pregnant women come and talk about the issues they face. So once you find yourself in a cycle where you can share your problems and then you find solutions to these problems, you then in turn go to other places and you now will form your own group and discussions, because you are already educated about some things, and then you can help them to solve their own problems. So with this, it's just something that is pilot, but then it have a great impact at the end. So as a young person growing up, I was always curious. I was at 10 years old when I got to know everything about menstruation and everything. But then it wasn't something that it was something like I wanted to know. You don't want to learn, but you want to learn. And I was afraid because I already knew that people used to say, I already want to be in everything. You want to be in people team and you won't be in people team. Knowing about what they can do and stuff. So I had older sisters that always used to sit and tell me things. So I already knew. Before I saw my first menses, I already knew what to do. When I saw it, I was not surprised. Other children would be surprised. It was not because my mother told me. It was because I had big sisters in the house, and I used to see them doing it, and I asked them, and they told me about it. So when I saw it, I knew where to go and what to buy. I went and bought clothes on my own. But then after 2 days, and when it stopped, I knew that if I tell my mom, she would know. Say I took POMO for myself. So I had to go and tell her, pretending like I didn't know, but I already knew what to do and what not to do. So she was like, you get this, you get, and I was like, yeah, well, I already get everything. She said, okay. So who, asking me questions, how you should know and everything. You but you really hell about, that kind of thing. But it happened that way, and then almost everything because you go to school, you have your friends, and that's one of the reasons why when I had the opportunity to get into the field to impact young people, I know how it be in schools. So for the fact that I went to one workshop and came back, I would teach my friend, I would tell my friend all the things I know. I would tell my friend all the things that I would do at the workshop. So we're part of the health club. Anytime we go to health club workshop, we will have to give news online, we'll have to do it. So it was something that when I came into space to impact young people, I was like, if you're doing anything and you wanted to reach to the people that you want to impact, it's better that we start doing safety hubs, we start doing health clubs in schools, and then you start talking to people, then it will have impact, because when you talk to one person, another person will talk to another person, another person to another person. When it comes to us helping, it's just about everybody joining it. Government need to do more of supporting these SRHR clubs, like with materials. You know, it's the first phase of it will cost a lot of money. It will cost because you have to print out things, you have to do this, and you have to do that. You have to have coordinators in schools, and just the coordinator is just assigned to that particular aspect in our school without teaching, because it's something that bothers every child in the school. Every child in our school should undergo puberty, right? Once they reach in that stage. So you just have this specialized person, and then it will take a whole lot. But we can do it together, because in as much as we started as Helping Mother and Newborn just started with this, government can see it and start it in public schools, and then they can pass a bill that schools should have certain clubs like safety hubs, HR clubs, these clubs. It should just be something that should be in a school. Once you have a school, you should have this, you should have a counselor, you should have this. Then with that, we can help each other. But then even at the level of the community, because in Liberia, not everybody going to school. Some people are not going to school, but we can have it at the level of the community. Each community should have this structure that have club for mothers. When you're pregnant, you go to the maternal clubs, you talk about issues, or even the facility near the community. They should just have these clubs that will be able to talk about the issues that affect women, children, adolescents when they come up. So my message to young people is that we face a lot of problems. Like we go through a whole lot. We have so many things to deal with. We have so many dreams that when we think about them, they are so big in our head, and then we can't get to let them out. But then if you have this dream and then it's so big, and you still want to have it going, you don't have to see it from that perspective that it should just appear big, but then you can find ways to get it going. So let's use Lila's example. Lila really wants something aside having this help a newborn, right? But then she saw it as a startup for having her dream come true. So this startup now will help her to see, to do more. So she have done this, and she will have the ability to do another, because she's somebody that's passionate about maternal health and so forth. So she wants to have a maternal health center, but she know that in her own self capacity now, she cannot build a whole maternal health club, right? So she can do awareness, she can do mini projects on maternal health. She can use her little ideas to raise funds to go around just to impact people from that stage. So you have the idea, don't sleep on it. Don't say, hey, I can see nobody. Find your way. It's hard, it's really hard to find your way to get the funding. Youth participation is very low in Liberia. We don't have people trusting us to give us funds to carry on the work. But then you have majority of the population being youth, and people that are passionate about doing something. So many times you see people that are broken, people that are feeling that they are left out because they don't see what they want. Even if they try, they don't see it. But the encouragement is you just have to keep trying, because this is our society. This is how we've made it, and we cannot do anything about changing it now, because we don't have the people that are willing to change this thing for us. We see them every day. They talk to us. They tell us we will do this, we will do this. But we see them making the laws. We see them doing everything, and they are not still working in our favor. They are not still making us to feel the impact that we want. We're not still having the opportunity to explore new things, to do the things that we want to do. Instead, we just see ourselves growing in a way that we shouldn't grow. We see ourselves going in a more negative side than the positive side. Nobody is encouraging us nowadays to take our books to read. Nobody is encouraging us. They make it look as if school is very bad, then school is not good, because you find these students that graduated from this school and they don't have scholarship to even go to the university. Let's assume yes, UL is free. Everybody cannot enter UL. Everybody in the whole country cannot enter UL. But then you have these dudes that is just wasted, that can't come to school. Even if he does to school and he don't have money to transport himself, nobody will give him a award. But you see people going for pageantry, they will get cars, they will get these things. So you more of entertainment, right? You promote more of entertainment than education. You promote things that pleases you as an individual than things that will build a country. I know entertainment do have have impact, but then we still need to do more of education in Liberia. We still need to go back to do what our parents said they had before. We need to go back to that place where we can understand, we can know, we can try to stay on our own. We need to have the face to tell somebody, you can't bring this thing to us. We want to break it down to our setting. We want it to work our way. We want it to work the way our people can work it out. Because it cannot happen out of everything, but then we still have a whole lot of people in Liberia that are still not educated to some extent. Even if you are educated, you don't find a job. So it's hard out there, but then to the youth, we need to try. So if you are a youth and you find yourself in a space where you have the least opportunity, make use of it. If you even have the opportunity to go to pastry school, tailoring school, make use of every opportunity you have, because others want it, but they don't see it, and others are outside there trying to be who they don't want to be just because they don't find what they want.